Hey parents, welcome back to my channel where we discuss the real, raw, and often messy journey of ADHD parenting. My name is Danielle Kelly and I'm a parenting coach, also on this journey with you, but I help parents of children newly diagnosed with ADHD make sense of the diagnosis with understanding so that we can find the patience that we so desperately need to get our lives back. Today is an off-the-cuff video. I did not plan on talking about this today, but after speaking with two clients earlier today who have this issue and I have experienced it myself, I thought we could dive into what it's like to co-parent a child with ADHD when your co-parent doesn't believe in ADHD, doesn't believe it's real, right? Talk about challenging. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want you guys to know that between 5 to 10% of children around the world are diagnosed with ADHD. Parenting a child with ADHD is often like riding a unicycle while juggling flaming swords. And then you throw in a parent who labels it as laziness or bad parenting and just completely throws a grenade into our already chaotic life. Now let's talk about what it's like to do all of that alone. If you are like me or my coaching clients, you find yourself advocating for your child often. I find myself constantly advocating for my child in the academic setting. Having a co-parent who doesn't necessarily believe in ADHD or hasn't taken the time to understand ADHD often feels like I spend a lot of time advocating for my child at home. It's exhausting. So you're adding in all of this work that you're putting in for your child while simultaneously being worn down by your child. Because even though you know what ADHD is, you know that it's real and you know what you need to do, it still doesn't make ADHD parenting easy. You're not just wearing one hat, you're wearing all the hats: teacher, therapist, and sometimes bad cop, which makes it even more exhausting on my journey. It's okay to admit that it's exhausting. It's okay to admit that it's challenging. Even superheroes take their capes off every now and again. I want you guys to know that even if you are on the journey of ADHD parenting and you feel like you're doing it alone for whatever reason, you're really not alone. There are millions of other parents around the globe that are on this journey with you and that can help you. I have found so many relationships and support from communities online. We have even started one locally. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later, but you are not alone. You have support, even if it is not local, that you can rely on, that you can bounce off of, that you can vent to, that you can say, hey, life is so hard, and people will get it. So here's the biggest challenge for me, myself, and I. You know and I know that standard disciplinary tactics don't work with our children. Our children's brain works more off of the positive reinforcement or the reward brain basis. So in my life, it is hard for me to try to positively direct. It is hard for me to be the only one that is like really hyping my child up on the things that they're doing right. And my co-parent, I hope he never watches this, is kind of like the I said it, so you do it. This is what has to be done. This is what we're doing. And my child doesn't really understand that. We actually had a very insightful conversation just yesterday, actually, where I realized that I am the safe space for my child. I realized that he feels the most free to unleash with me. That is not fun. I am happy to provide that space for him. I am happy to be his person, and I'm glad that he has that. That does not mean it is enjoyable. I told him, it's not fair that you are so crude to me when I'm the parent that is trying to be kind to you. And he said, well, Mom, Dad is scary. Dad has the rules, and I have to follow them, and yada, yada. Cool, I hear that. I do. But for me, it seems like you should be kinder and more respectful to me because I am offering that to you. But because you're not afraid of me, you are kind of mean to me, dude. It doesn't make sense. And I wish that I had that united front where we were parenting from the same page. And I will tell you guys something really wild. when we decided to have a child, it was kind of insinuated that I would be the bad cop and that I would be the disciplinarian. And my co-parent wonders why that has changed. But the reason that has changed is because I have spent the last 6 years of my life learning what ADHD is and going through all of this training. So I know wholeheartedly that how I intended to parent 9 years ago doesn't work. It won't work with him. It's not recommended for any child, neurotypical or not, but for mine specifically, that type of parenting doesn't work. So how do you co-parent with someone who thinks that ADHD is just a myth? I'm not saying it's easy, but we're going to try to educate them as much as possible. And I have sent podcasts, books, I've done all the things. That didn't seem to work. So what did work for me was pointing out the ADHD characteristics in dad that also present in my son. And slowly, very slowly, he is starting to understand that yes, you have ADHD as well, and so does our child, and that is what this looks like. I remember very vividly we had a conversation where he said something along the lines of, he just needs to put in more attention and focus. I let him talk because I'm working on myself on this journey as well. But when he was finished, I was like, you know that attention and focus are literally the things that are hijacked by ADHD. So telling him to focus is like telling a pig to fly, right? It just can't happen. It doesn't work that way. But you're going to hopefully slowly break them into understanding what ADHD is. Now, I can recommend some great podcasts for you if your partner is open and willing to hear that. I hope that you have a good pediatrician that can also maybe present with some scientific medical terms that we may not have to get them to where we need to be. But we're going to present as much knowledge as we can. And this cannot be in a rude, crude, you got to do this type of way, because that will hardly ever be accepted. It'd be something like, hey, I know we've had our differences and I know we don't see eye to eye on this, but I came across some really great information and I was wondering if you would allow Dr. Smith to go over it with you. Can I make the appointment? Setting clear boundaries is another way. Even if you do not have that united front with your partner, you can set clear, consistent boundaries for yourself and your child. And it's so necessary, right? I often tell my coaching clients, you need to be the lighthouse in your child's hurricane. And that's true, because they always need a home base. They need to know that this is going to be what's going on at all times. I can always come home and mom will be doing exactly what she's always done. And that is not easy, but that is one of the best things that you can do for your child, because it's setting them up to know that this is the way things are. It helps them get in a routine. The ADHD brain is constantly looking for a roadmap, and you can provide that with consistency. Last up is self-care, and before you roll your eyes, there are some tidbits in here that you probably have not heard, but this one you definitely have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. As I have said, you cannot be the one out here advocating for your child and be completely exhausted. So yes, advocate. I had a ADHD expert tell me that my new job as an ADHD parent was to advocate for my child. And I respect that and accept that role wholeheartedly. And I do it to the utmost of my ability. With that said, I also know I cannot do that and ADHD parent exhausted. So you have to take care of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. You can take a moment and drink some tea. I highly recommend that you have your house childproof so that you can take a minute and lock yourself in a closet and not have to worry about anything. Probably not the best advice, but even if you have to run in the bathroom and scream in a pillow or pull out your emergency chocolate, whatever you have to do for you. Included in this self-care is you finding your tribe. That doesn't have to be all online, even though that is a great place to start. You can vent to strangers, even anonymously now, to get your feet wet if you're not comfortable with that. But as I said earlier, we actually created a local ADHD group for our children to find their tribe, to find kids that are like them and going through similar struggles so that they are not alone. And with that came this very, very beautiful bonding experience with parents who are just like you and who get it, who may also have a co-parent who believes that ADHD is not even real. No matter how you do it, no matter how you find your tribe and take care of yourself, you have to recharge so that you can be the best parent for your child. At the end of the day, it's all about patience, love, and understanding. You are an amazing advocate. You are doing an amazing job, alone or otherwise. And I believe that you are going to do amazing things and you are exactly who your child needs. If you are doing it alone and you need someone to vent to, I am always here. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, share with other fellow ADHD parents. Again, it is not always an easy journey, and I would love to help you along the way. If you are looking for a program or a parent coach, my information is always in the description. Would love to have you around. Until next time, guys, you are not failing. You are actually thriving. You are doing the best job with taking care of your children.